Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, and this time it is featuring in our bottom right-hand side Cryptys. Cryptys is our blue Terran. He's in Diamond League, and in our top left we have Audie's DND, our golden Protoss. Gold versus blue? Is this the latter? Nay. Nay, it is not the latter. This is actually the finals of the tourney, StarCraft 2 Tuesdays Open StarCraft 2 Tournament 3. So many names for just a simple tourney, but no, it's not a simple tourney. This is actually a rather big one, and this is the finals, so both players have knocked out quite a lot of players to get here. Definitely an accomplishment. I think this was the culmination of 5 different best of 3s. This is going to be a best of 5. This is game 1. When I say game 1, I say that this is game 1 because it's the first game that I've casted, not because necessarily this is the first one in those best of 5. I'm guesstimating based on the time that the replays were recorded that this is the first game that they've played. It is possible that I'm wrong. Also remember that this is based off of a tourney, so both players are very familiar with the other player's build. You definitely watch the replays from what Cryptys did to his opponent. I'm sure D&D is well versed with the build that Cryptys is going to do. So yeah, it's gonna be a good match. I'm sure that both players are very much more familiar with this map than I am. This is actually Icarus, a GSL map. You've got a single Xel'Naga watchtower in the center, an incredibly exposed third base as well as a fourth. This map, just looking at it, tells me that it really favors a 2-base play because you've got that 2-base which is nice and sheltered off in the top left side, protected by some destructible debris, and also you've got a supplemental pathway leading off to the common ground, so your naturals like cubby hold off there. Definitely looking for both Terran and Protoss to take advantage of that. You can see that the wall-offs are going off, a nice little supply depot in the front provided by the map maker. Barracks first build coming down from Cryptys. Hasn't tapped his gas just yet, but he's going to know that probe is going to sneak into his main base from D&D, so it's possible that he's going to throw down a gas once the probe vacates the premises. Come down just to see if there is a command center being thrown down. No, it is not. This map is actually rather small, making it very, very ballsy to go for a Nexus or a CC first build. The rush distance being so small that it's pretty easy to abuse the other player if they decide to go for that heavy economic build, so it's not unheard of just to see both Terran and Protoss follow along this a little bit more defensive build. Cryptys is throwing down his first command center now that his first barracks is up. I expect to see a bunker thrown up at the front base in relative short order. He's going to be getting his gas eventually, I'm sure. First gas has been grabbed by D&D as Cybernetics Core is finishing now. He's beginning to accumulate quite a lot of money. Probably going to be thinking about getting up his own Nexus. Wants to take his first Stalker out so they can take down that CC before it can finagle his way back down into that natural. Rich mineral fields. I haven't seen rich mineral fields in like a kind of smorgasbord of minerals and rich mineral fields in forever. I don't think I've seen that in forever. There goes the Nexus. Will Cryptys scout it? Or no, his SCV's pretty much very shying away from that Zealot. He's going to have to suicide it in there eventually because that could be a major win for him. Cryptys is moving along the right side. No, he's going to get herded away by that Stalker. But based on what he was seeing that there's no double gas, he's probably suspecting that this isn't going to be a heavy tech play. Either it's going to be some sort of very delayed 4-gate with the warp gate tech already being started, or there's going to be a Nexus behind this. So it's a pretty safe assumption that Cryptys is only going to have to deal with maybe a 4-gate, but probably not. Probably going to be throwing down that Nexus. 400 minerals just kind of hanging out for D&D. Cryptys is throwing down double refineries. He's got 2 more barracks on the way, but those are rather defensive in nature. We don't see a tech lab being thrown down on this barracks. The tech lab would signify to me that he's going to be using these 3 barracks more for an aggressive posture. But no, he's going to need that tech lab to start on the STEM research, and since we don't see it yet, it's looking like both players are going to be sitting back, relaxing on the 2 bases that they've basically been given by the construction of this map. 2 more gateways being added on for D&D, but again, I don't think this signifies any form of aggression. I think he's just getting up his macro mechanics, grabbing that second gas. We're probably going to see a third gas being tapped. Oh, and I'm learning new things about this map every second. Just one rich geyser thrown down here on the left side. So yeah, it's a rich geyser. It's pretty much worth 2. It's more like 1.5. So he's not going to be behind on the gas income, but look for Protoss to only finance a small amount of aggression off of this. I suspect strongly that Protoss is going to be looking to secure a third base somewhere sneaky, get up that extra gas income so he can proceed along some sneaky pathways, or he's going to be stuck on just gateway tech. Maybe we're going to see a warp prism come out of that robotics facility so that he can be a little bit more cost effective with the excess minerals that he has rather than the excess gas, which is also kind of a cool thing to note with Cryptys. He's progressing along the bio portion of play. He's got 2 tech labs out, 1 tech lab working on STEM. We're probably going to see combat shields in relatively short order, and that's a very heavy mineral build, and that really plays itself very strongly to the strengths of this map, the excess minerals that he's going to get from those rich minerals, as well as the small deficit of minerals he's going to get from the single refinery down at the natural. Scouting observer coming out from D&D. What is he going to see? Well, he's going to see a plethora of Marines and Marauders already out on the field. He's going to see a tech lab going to town, constructing or a reactor on a factory, which means it's going to be destined for that starport. He's going to get out that nice medevac build. This is going to be a very heavy bio play from Cryptys. This is going to hit like a ton of bricks in just a handful of minutes. What does D&D have? Well, he's already gotten 3 sentries out on the field. Fantastic play. He's going to need to accumulate quite a lot of energy so that he can throw down quite a lot of force fields. He's got a robotics facility coming up, a robotics bay, pardon me, robotics bay, so he's going to have some Colossus out. Maybe if he spends a bunch of chrono boosts, he'll have a single Colossus out by the time this force hits, and if that does indeed happen, then that could be a major a major problem for Cryptys. He's definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. Be very careful not to have his units cut up into small manageable chunks for the Zealots and the Colossus to go to town. There goes the Colossus on the production tab right now. And yeah, it looks like Cryptys is moving off to the top right corners, probably thinking about taking down these destructible debris to bulldoze his way into the natural and force an engagement with this nice wide choke. With D&D's entire force position down here by this choke, I don't think it'd be very wise for Cryptys to move into this narrower choke. Rather, if he takes down this, it's nice and wide, and he'll be able to take a natural if he decides to force the engagement there. But Cryptys is waiting way too long. That first Colossus is now out on the field, and D&D's in an excellent position right now to defend himself. He's working on that extended thermal lance, and he's actually going to be taking an aggressive posture. Oh no, he was thinking about moving out. Where is the Observer? Has the Observer found this? Okay, the Observer's moving up just now to the north side. He's going to be scouting Cryptys' large force. So many Marauders thrown into the mix. Stem is done. A beautiful scan from Cryptys, realizing that maybe, just maybe, that Observer was there. And on the back of this, he's got his command center already being constructed. With the Observer going down, D&D does not like what he saw, and he's going to be pushing out. Look for the force fields to be the major center on this. Oh no, the extended thermal lance is not done. That Colossus is really exposing himself, but Cryptys has to pull back as the excellent force fields go down, cutting the Marauder force in half. And look at that retreat. I mean, the Stem, very quick reactions, but the +1 is not done yet. Do we have? We do not. Oh no, we do have. I just missed it. The combat shields are already done. The factory suiciding his way in. Cryptys, what has he seen? I mean, he knows that the robotics facility is out because he saw that Colossus. He's going to probably suspect that he's looking at a 2-base play. We do see the probe positioning itself to be trying to grab that third, but I think right now the overall map control is going to be in Cryptys' corner. He just has an incredibly mobile force. Bio lends itself so strongly to that, and then with the added threat of those medevacs being able to do this, which is some drops, D&D is going to be feeling very cramped. And look, this is exactly what I'm talking about. He's got his main force positioned between these 2 ramps, huge, wide open area, which is just going to play hell with all of his sentries. His sentries aren't going to be able to force field choke this incredibly wide, but he has to position it there so that he can defend against the drops in all the different corners. Oh, a Marine gives away his position by taking down the Stalker a little bit prematurely, pushing in to take down the Forge, which is not working on any upgrades at all, but still a win ultimately. The Colossus pushing forward, but the Stalker arrive just in the nick of time. Cryptys is going to have to load up and retreat with just a very small amount of damage being done. The factory is still surprisingly alive. Looking at that natural, nice saturation there on that natural, but the third is just now going to be finishing up. But the orbital from Cryptys has not repositioned at all, very much a macro orbital. Cryptys surprisingly just does not feel comfortable in pushing out and taking a third, and I think that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to get up an economy significantly larger. A fantastic win for him here, taking that robotics facility, severely harming the number of Colossus that he's going to have to deal with later on. In fact, I think he can probably just get by with 2, maybe 1 more rounds of Vikings just to take down the 2 Colossus that are out right now, because it's going to be forever until that robotics facility gets back out on the field. And those medevacs are still waiting in the wings. Nothing has died from those medevacs. They've taken just a very small amount of damage. Cryptys' main force suffers just a little bit from the deficit of those forces, but they're going to be supplemented by those Vikings. And really, I think D&D is going to be feeling cramped. On the other side of things, D&D's managed to secure his third. Cryptys has not done any economic damage at all. And I think really the ball is in Cryptys' court, and he's allowing it to kind of slip away. He needs to get out there and do more damage. +1/+1 is done. +1/+1 is on the way for D&D, and it looks like both wings of Cryptys' army is going to be moving in for an attack. We have a drop going on the left side of the main base and a pylon block at the third, but unbeknownst to him, Cryptys is taking a third down in the bottom left. Cryptys once again moving in with his medevac, this time taking down the forge. It's actually working on some upgrades. The +1 armor has gone down. Small skirmish of the Vikings pushing in, succeeding in taking down a single Colossus. The drop continues, having suffered some minor losses to the zealots that have been warped in. Looks like they're going to take down an assimilator and nothing else as the main force pushes in. Speaking of main force, Cryptys coming in, taking down the third. Switch over to the economic tab. We can see this 65/68, but a severe loss to the longevity of D&D's economy, because that Nexus is completely down. The CC, orbital command from Cryptys is repositioned down on the bottom left side. Cryptys is just playing this game nice and slow. He's being very cautious with the force that he's managed to build up, and it's getting very intimidating. 168 over 136 for the supply count. I'm surprised to see that pylon is allowed to live just a moment longer. The Viking production continues, but the Colossus production is back up into full swing. We do have a second one being added on now to D&D's force, and that extendothermal lance is done with +1 going to be finishing. That Colossus is going to be a little bit more intimidating as we proceed on. But this is really the cincher. Cryptys is being able to pressure D&D's main force, but the main force of D&D has to position itself right here so it can defend the third. If D&D wants to defend the main just a little bit heavier, he's going to do this, which is just leave a couple of units that will die if there's any form of a drop coming in from Cryptys, but it's going to buy time for D&D's main force to reposition, and then we've seen what happens if D&D repositions with his main force. The third goes down. So overall, a very cramped position for D&D that I don't feel like Cryptys is taking advantage of. Cryptys should have a fourth up right now, should be working on some massive upgrades, maybe even getting some ghosts out, because he knows that D&D is eventually going to be working towards that in-game tech. He's got Psionic Storm on the way. We'll be seeing High Templars later on, and if ghosts were out on the field and they had that EMP, that's going to be a major win for Cryptys. He's going to be one leg up. However, Storm gets out, and there is nothing to stop those High Templar. The storms on these Marauders are really going to wreak havoc, especially in conjunction with the feedback on the relatively small number of medevacs. I'd really expect to see a lot more medevacs thrown into this mix, just because the number of Vikings needed right now is very, very small. Even an Immortal on the production tab now, as the Colossus quickly fall from the hail of bullets coming out from that Viking. They're working on some of the destructible debris, but oh no, D&D is running his army right by. They're both on move commands. Oh no, D&D going for the GG as the just brutal drop from Cryptys happens in the main base, but no. Poor D&D, just walking right past the main force as Cryptys was going to town on those rocks. If either player had realized what was happening and had turned and attacked the very vulnerable force, this could have gone radically different. Instead, Cryptys, with his just very fantastic map awareness, being able to carry on the drop at the natural as well as being aggressive with his main force, just spread D&D just a little bit too thin. Absolutely fantastic play. I'm really looking forward to this best of 5. Stay tuned. I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.